Hi there, welcome back. In the next set of lessons, we'll get into the different types of job interviews. Let's start with the phone interview. In most cases, a phone interview becomes sort of a screening interview, where the recruiter tries to make sure there are no red flags and you have everything that you need to have to be worth the time of the hiring managers to meet with you in person. So, the phone interview is very important. In general, the format for a phone interview is as follows. You'll start out with some introductions and small talk, and at that point, usually, there's a bit of resume review discussion. So walk me through your resume. What did you do at this internship? What have you studied at your university? What was your role in that study project? Why did you come to this country? So, some of those basic discussions about your past experience. Then there may be, depending on the company and the position, some additional behavioral or motivational questions. Can you give me an example type questions? And we have a whole course on behavioral questions at Hoy Talent Academy, as well as maybe some questions about your personality, your motivations, why you want to work here, and your future plans. There's generally a little bit of time at the end for your questions. So what questions do you have for the interviewer? We will discuss this later, and then, hopefully, some discussion of what's next. If you do well, that next step should be an in-person interview with one or more people at the company. We come across many people who treat the phone interview in a very relaxed way. However, we see candidates who are strong for the role who felt like they did okay in the phone interview and they did not advance to the next round. So, it's not just about doing okay. It's about standing out, even in the beginning phase of the process. Well, the good thing about the phone interview is that you might find it's less intimidating than a face-to-face meeting, as they don't see your face and what you wear. You don't have to put on makeup or have to worry about the way you presented yourself. So, being able to put all of that aside and just focus on the answers. The other piece of it is that you can have your notes nearby for reference. However, the challenge is that it's harder to make a strong impression in a phone interview for a couple of reasons. You don't have eye contact, and body languages cannot be taken into account. It's a lot harder to establish a rapport without that. On top of that, it's more difficult to tell if your interviewer is engaged on the phone. All you have are these long and endless silences. Some interviewers are trained to let you know that a silence means they are taking notes and not more than that. But it still becomes a bit nerve-wracking as you're not getting any feedback at all. Here are some specific tips, particularly designed to help you ace phone interviews. First of all, prepare. In this case, we're talking about maybe more tactical types of preparation for phone interviews. Making sure that you have an environment, a reliable landline connection, and also privacy that's conducive to a good phone interview so that you're not distracted, because any of them can make you seem unprofessional, even if it's not your fault. Sometimes, phone interviews are also conducted through a Skype call. Having a good Wi-Fi connection is obviously important. Here comes a really important one. Boost up your energy. Like we said earlier, you only have your voice and words to make an impression.
So why don't you start off by telling me a little bit about yourself? Sure. I am a recent college graduate. I'm looking to further my career. During college, I was involved in many organizations and activities. So Paige, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself? Well, I just graduated. My major was marketing and design. What else did I do?
It's very easy to bore someone with a monotone delivery. Or if your voice sounds like it's lacking energy, then it's going to be really hard to communicate your point across and get your passion about the position, and you're someone who would be fantastic to work with. So, you're going to have to purposely amp it up. How do you do that? A few quick tips here. Speak a bit louder with a smile on your face for the opening. Try to keep it up throughout the phone interview. Suit up. Believe it or not, it helps. It's actually a real tip given by a few top investment banks when our trainees were invited for the phone interview. Thirdly, stand up and speak with open pose gestures. Your voice projects more energy than sitting down and talking with your hands on the table. Still not sure you project the passion to the other end of the line? Record your voice and play back. Ask your friends what do they feel if they are the audience. Don't read from your notes. Don't read word for word. An interviewer knows if someone is reading word for word. It's different about having notes in front of you and glancing at it occasionally to refresh your memory.
July of 2009, our company was acquired by Sony, and the founders and some of the exec teams were all celebrating their new wealth, and then the rest of us, half of us were worried about losing our jobs, and the other half were trying to implement these new systems for all this.
Here comes the most important thing. Get comfortable with silence. Don't feel like you have to rush to fill every pause during a phone interview. There are going to be pauses. It's a conversation, yes, but the other person, the interviewer, needs to take notes, needs to think about what question they're going to ask next, needs to consider your answers, and maybe think about, do I have a follow-up question here? Do I understand what he just said? Do I need more information? So, there are going to be pauses. It does not mean you haven't given them the information that they want. Make yourself comfortable in advance to know there's going to be some silence. I want to be comfortable that when I finish my answer, I finish my answer. Give it a beat or two. And if you find that the pause is really dragging out for a particularly long time, you can always ask, is there more information I can provide on that topic? Or can I give you some additional details? And then that gives them the opportunity to say, no, that's good, I'm just taking notes. Or to say, yes, actually I'd like some more information. On the other hand, in case you are not 100% sure about the question posed by the recruiter, or you just need a bit more time to structure the answer, you can always say something like, if I get you correctly, or do you mean? To sum up your answer, you can say, I hope I've answered your question. Let me know in case something is not clear, to keep the conversation rolling and interactive. Well, let's recap what we've learned in this telephone interview lesson. In the next lessons, we will look into other various types of interviews. Stay tuned.